I'm bringing this bill before Parliament for 4 reasons. First, because in this country we have a commitment to equality. We have a commitment to combat any forms of gender discrimination, gender inequality. And Sharia law is inherently discriminatory against women. So it does not actually have a place in this country, in family matters particularly. Secondly, women are really suffering as a result of the provisions of Sharia law. For example, polygamy. In Sharia law, a man can divorce a wife very easily. This happens quite frequently. Women are just divorced and they're left, if they haven't had a civilly registered marriage, without any legal redress. The husband goes and marries another wife, brings her back to this country and enjoys that relationship, and then divorce again. And then the third marriage, a third divorce. Well, we don't allow bigamy in this country. Why are we allowing polygamy? And women are suffering. So that's the second point. Thirdly, I'm in Parliament. And as a parliamentarian, I think we have a responsibility to make sure that the laws of our land are upheld and that people do not suffer. And in this case, that women do not suffer systematic discrimination. And fourthly, we have a very precious heritage in this country of freedom and equality before the law. It's a heritage of liberal democracy. It's a heritage for which many people have lived and died to keep that heritage of liberal democracy, freedom and equality before the law. And we're just letting that go. And someone has to draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough. It is time now to raise this issue, to have public debate about it, and to bring in parliamentary redress to prevent this continuing systematic discrimination against women in our land.
People in this country are free to practice whatever faith they have. But at the same time, we have a very long tradition of people being equal under the law. The problem with Sharia is that it is inherently unequal for certain kinds of people. So Muslims and non-Muslims are treated unequally. Similarly, men and women are treated unequally. And so if Sharia is recognized in any way in terms of the public law of this country, that for me introduces a principle of contradiction in the body of the law, which will cause enormous problems for the country and for people who suffer, particularly women, of course. It is often suggested that Sharia family law should be recognized in terms of public law. Well, let us see what would happen if it were to be recognized. Bigamy, they say, is still a crime in this country. Well, would it then be a crime only for some or for all? So the equality of all before the law is immediately compromised. Divorce, the parties to divorce in this country are treated equally, not so in Sharia law, where the man's position remains dominant even if a woman can get a divorce through the courts. But it is quite difficult for her to do so. Custody of children. The law lords themselves at one of their last sittings ruled that the question of the custody of children violates a woman's fundamental freedoms as far as Sharia law is concerned. The laws of inheritance are unequal, the laws of evidence are unequal. What all of this does, of course, is to cause suffering to people, particularly, but not only to women. And we need to make sure that people have free access to the courts and they have equal protection from the state as far as their fundamental rights are concerned.